What is your proposal to fix the immigration system? Questioner says, I'm sure you agree we have a broken system that's not working properly, so what would you do affirmatively to fix it?
That's a great question. It's a very important question.
Yeah.
And the premise is exactly right. And this actually illustrates the point we were talking about before about the divide between Washington and the country. If you get outside of Washington, there is bipartisan agreement on a great many aspects of immigration. That there is widespread bipartisan agreement that our immigration system is broken, as the questioner observed. There is widespread bipartisan agreement that we've got to get serious about securing the borders, about finally stopping the problem of illegal immigration.
Yep.
And there is widespread bipartisan agreement that we need to improve and streamline our legal immigration system, make it work better so that we can not just welcome, we can celebrate legal immigrants. So now what does that mean specifically? Well, I think the way Congress should address immigration reform is it should focus on the areas of bipartisan agreement. If we drafted legislation that reflected those areas, that secured the borders, that put in place strong E-Verify, that fixed the problem of illegal immigration, and at the same time that improved and streamlined legal immigration, that would sail through Congress. Unfortunately, that has not been the approach that has proceeded in Congress. And during the Gang of Eight bill, when it was in the Senate, I spent a great deal of time on the Judiciary Committee trying to improve that bill and trying to make it where it would actually work and fix the problem. I introduced a whole series of amendments trying to fix the problem. So I had one amendment that would have put real teeth in the border security. As it's drafted, the Gang of Eight bill would not be effective in stopping illegal immigration. The amendment I introduced would triple the Border Patrol, would increase fourfold the fixed-wing aircraft, the helicopters, the technology, would put in place strong E-Verify. Every Senate Democrat on the Judiciary Committee voted against that amendment.
Yeah.
I also had two amendments, Evan, that would improve and streamline legal immigration. And I'll note there has been virtually no reporting on the work I did to expand and improve legal immigration other than, and I want to give a shout-out to you guys, other than the Tribune. And I suppose it countered the media narrative the media narrative that was trying to be painted is that Republicans oppose immigration. And I don't think that's true generally, but at least with me, it is very much not the case. Indeed, Evan, there is no stronger advocate of legal immigrants in the U.S. Senate than I am. And so I had two amendments on legal immigration. One was focused on high-tech workers, H-1B, temporary high-skilled workers. The current cap is 65,000. The Gang of Eight bill makes a modest improvement and increases that to 110,000. The problem is we filled the current cap in 5 days. Every year we educate tens of thousands of students from all around the world, and they get graduate degrees in U.S. universities, including the University of Texas. They get graduate degrees in math and computer science and engineering, and then we send them back to their countries. They start companies there. They create jobs, and they compete against us. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
So I introduced an amendment to increase the H-1B cap fivefold, from 65,000 to 325,000. When I introduced that, every single Senate Democrat on the Judiciary Committee voted against it. And they said, listen, we cut a deal. We sat down with the union bosses. We cut a deal. We can't increase it anymore. I think that was a real mistake. I introduced another amendment to double the current cap of legal immigrants from 675,000 to 1.35 million, to double it, to streamline the system, to reduce the cost, to reduce the bureaucracy, to reduce the per-country caps, which right now heavily discriminate against several countries, including especially Mexico, to eliminate those caps altogether. Again, every single Senate Democrat on the Judiciary Committee voted against it. Now, I bet you if someone just reads the newspaper, you have no idea that every single Senate Democrat voted against increasing legal immigration. But that's in fact what they did on the Judiciary Committee. And then the last two amendments I introduced were focused on those who are here illegally. And I think the most divisive aspect of this entire immigration debate is amnesty for those who are here illegally. and in particular a pathway to citizenship for those who are here illegally. And in my view, there is no chance the House of Representatives is going to pass a pathway to citizenship for those who are here illegally. There are not 218 votes. I think the Obama White House knows that, and I think the Senate Democrats know that. And their insistence upon that, I believe, was intended to be and is in fact a poison pill to kill the entire bill. I mean, the reason, and I'm very saddened by what's happened on immigration in Washington, I think the intention of the Obama White House was to jam it through the Senate, and they had the votes to do that, and then have it crash and burn in the House so they can use it as a partisan issue in 2014 and 2016.
Blame you guys.
Exactly.
Blame you guys.
And so I introduced an amendment in the Senate Judiciary Committee that eliminated the pathway to citizenship, that said you're here illegally. I think a pathway to citizenship is profoundly unfair to the millions of legal immigrants who followed the rules. I think it also encourages more illegal immigration. And I think it dooms the bill. If you want to pass the bill, you've got to take that out. Now, notably, Evan, the amendment I introduced, it didn't alter the bill's underlying work permits for those who are here illegally. So it's still, the underlying bill still allowed those who are here illegally to have some form of legal status, but no path to citizenship. And it was really quite striking. I thought the clarifying moment of the entire debate was the response to that amendment. New York Senator Chuck Schumer looked at me and said, if there is no citizenship, there can be no reform. And Evan, I actually took the chance to thank him. I said, listen, I appreciate your candor. What you have just told the committee is that you have an overarching partisan political objective. And if you cannot get 100% of that overarching partisan political objective, you are willing to do nothing, zero, to secure the borders and stop illegal immigration. You're willing to do nothing, zero, to improve high-tech immigration and meet the needs of the high-tech industry that desperately needs skilled workers. You're willing to do nothing, zero, to meet the needs of farmers and ranchers that need agricultural workers.
Yeah.
And most tellingly, you're willing to do nothing, zero, for the 11 million people who are here illegally. You're saying to them, stay in the shadows. You get no legal status whatsoever. If you can't get 100% of your partisan political objective, you'll leave them just where they are. Now, listen, I think that's profoundly cynical. I think that's wrong. But that right now has been the approach of the Senate Democrats and, unfortunately, of the Obama White House. I hope it changes. I don't want it to remain that way.
All right.